The red flag rises high in Nepal as the Left Alliance heads towards a victory both in parliamentary and provincial elections. These according to the latest reports. In fact, the CPN-UML, led by former Prime Minister KP Oli, and the CPN Maoist, led by former Premier Prachanda, has won 81 seats in the federal parliament and 166 in the provincial assemblies. The Communist Party of Nepal, a unified Marxist and Leninist, has won 59 seats, while its alliance, CPN Maoist Center, bagged 22 seats out of total 165 under the first past-the-post election system. According to tallies, the ruling Nepali Congress, which was the largest party in the last elections, managed to win only 12 seats. KP Sharma Oli is being projected to succeed the Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Debua. The historic polls in the Himalayan nation was keenly watched by its neighbors, China and India, as both countries looked to strengthen their ties with Kathmandu. The communist victory in Nepal has come as a boost to China, as the projected PM Oli was seen very close to Beijing earlier. New Delhi purportedly threw its weight behind the Nepali Congress as communists were seen hand in glove with China. And for more on this story, I am joined by our senior international correspondent who knows a lot about Nepal, I would say, Ramesh Ramachandran. Thank you very much for joining us. So, Ramesh, this is indeed the Nepali election, but behind this we have China and India. Can I define it a victory for China?
You're correct, Daniele. Nepal is increasingly be seen as a potential land for where Chinese and Indian interests clash and collide. But that said, the challenge before India would be twofold, Daniele. One, to remove the trust deficit, and second, to improve the delivery deficit. Now, trust because, remember, the so-called blockade against Nepal, which led to a shortage of essential commodities, including petroleum, in the light of the Madhesi agitation last year, did not go down well with the then Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. And since then, we've seen KP Sharma Oli travel to Beijing in March last year to sign a trade and transit agreement with China, which, by the way, did not go down well with India. So trust is an issue, and delivery in terms of implementing the projects already promised by India to Nepal. But from a Nepalese perspective, Daniele, the challenge would be to ensure political stability. Remember, they've had 10 prime ministers in the last decade or so and 26 in the last 28 years. So political stability is a big issue in Nepal. It is expected that this government, the Left Alliance, might complete the full 5 years of its term. But as you mentioned, it is seen as a India versus China in Nepal, and that might be there for the immediate future, especially as Ishwar Pokhrel said, the General Secretary of the CPN-UML said, told reporters in Kathmandu, that the first order of business for the next government would be to revisit the agreements signed with Nepal, including the Budi Gandaki hydropower project, which was awarded to a Chinese construction company,
right,
but which was cancelled. So you can imagine the tussle between India and China in the domestic affairs of Nepal in the days ahead.